Welcome to Dream Tale Sleep Stories. Tonight's reading is The Toaster and His Burning Ambition. Settle into your bed or sofa and let your shoulders, jaw, and eyelids grow heavy. Inhale slowly, 1, 2, 3, and sigh the air away, allowing the day to fade into quiet dark. With every soft inhale, you invite fresh English phrases. With every gentle exhale, stray thoughts drift farther off. Behind my voice flows a gentle 528 Hz melody, renowned for guiding the mind toward deep relaxation. Keep your eyes closed or follow the captions, whichever feels right. Simply receive the rhythm and resonance of the language. Deep in rest, tonight's phrases will take root like seeds, ready to bloom into stronger English skills with the morning light. When you feel settled, hold that unhurried breath and allow yourself to drift into the tale. The Toaster and His Burning Ambition begins now. And when the story's final line has faded, the music will linger a little longer, carrying you gently deeper into sleep. The Toaster and His Burning Ambition. Toby was a small, red toaster who lived on the kitchen counter of the Johnson family. He had been there for 3 years, and during all that time, he had one big problem. Every morning, when Mrs. Johnson put bread into his slots and pressed his lever down, something went wrong. The bread always came out too dark, too light, or completely burnt. Why can't I make perfect toast? Toby wondered sadly, as he watched Mrs. Johnson scrape the black parts off another piece of burnt bread. All the other toasters in the store probably make beautiful golden toast every day. The other kitchen appliances had noticed Toby's problem too. Mixer, who sat on the counter next to him, was always very helpful. "Don't worry, Toby," she said one morning after another toasting disaster. "Maybe you just need more practice." "Practice?" Toby replied. "I've been practicing for 3 years. I've toasted thousands of pieces of bread, and they all come out wrong." Coffee Maker, who was busy brewing the morning coffee, joined the conversation. "Have you tried adjusting your heating elements?" he suggested. "Sometimes we appliances need to learn how to control our power better." "I try to control them," Toby said with frustration. "But when I get excited about making the perfect toast, I heat up too much. And when I try to be careful, I don't heat up enough." Refrigerator, the oldest and wisest appliance in the kitchen, hummed thoughtfully. "When I was young," she said in her deep, cool voice, "I used to freeze everything too much. Ice cream became hard as rocks, and vegetables turned into ice blocks. But I learned that the secret isn't trying to be perfect. The secret is understanding what each food needs." "But toast is just bread," Toby said. "How hard can it be?" "Ah, but bread isn't just bread," Refrigerator explained. "Some bread is thick, some is thin, some is fresh, some is a few days old. Some people like it light and golden, others like it dark and crispy. You need to pay attention to these differences." This conversation gave Toby an idea. That afternoon, when the family was out, he called a meeting of all the kitchen appliances. Mixer, coffee maker, refrigerator, microwave, and even the little egg timer gathered around Toby's counter space. "I want to become the best toaster in the world," Toby announced. "Will you help me train?" "Of course," said Mixer enthusiastically. "We're a kitchen team." Microwave, who was known for heating things very quickly, offered his advice first. "The key is speed and precision," he said. "Heat everything as fast as possible, then stop exactly at the right moment." No, disagreed Coffee Maker. "Slow and steady is better. Take your time and let the heat build up gradually." "You're both wrong," interrupted Dishwasher from her corner. "The secret is in the timing. I have to know exactly how long each cycle should last." Poor Toby became more confused than ever. Everyone had different advice, and he didn't know which suggestion to follow. That evening, Toby had another idea. The family often watched cooking shows on the small TV in the kitchen. Maybe he could learn from professional chefs. When the Johnsons went to bed, Toby asked Mixer to help him turn on the television. "Welcome to Perfect Breakfast with Chef Williams," said the chef on the screen. "Today we're going to learn how to make the perfect toast." Toby was so excited he almost glowed. This was exactly what he needed. Chef Williams explained that perfect toast should be golden brown on both sides, crispy on the outside, and soft on the inside. He talked about different types of bread and how each one needed different cooking times. Toby listened carefully and took mental notes. "The secret," said Chef Williams, "is to watch the bread carefully and adjust the heat as needed. Never leave your toast unattended." "But I can't watch the bread when it's inside me," Toby whispered to Mixer. "How am I supposed to see what's happening?" Mixer thought for a moment. "Maybe you can feel it," she suggested. "When I'm mixing cake batter, I can feel when the texture is just right." The next morning, Toby was ready to try his new techniques. When Mrs. Johnson put in the first piece of bread, Toby concentrated very hard. He tried to feel the bread warming up inside him. He paid attention to the smell and tried to imagine how the bread was changing color. After 2 minutes, the toast popped up. It was still completely white. "Oh, Toby," Mrs. Johnson sighed. "Not again." Toby felt terrible, but he didn't give up. The next piece of bread he heated for longer. This time, the toast came out black and smoking. "That's it," Mr. Johnson said. "We need to buy a new toaster." Toby's heating elements went cold with fear. A new toaster? But this was his home. These were his family. He couldn't let them replace him. That night, Toby had a long talk with Refrigerator. "I don't understand," he said sadly. "I watched the cooking show. I listened to everyone's advice. I practiced feeling the bread, but nothing works." Refrigerator hummed sympathetically. "Tell me, Toby, what happens inside you when you're trying to make toast?" "Well," Toby thought carefully, "when Mrs. Johnson first puts the bread in, I get excited. I think, this is it. This time I'll make perfect toast. Then I start heating up, but I get nervous that it won't be good enough. So I heat up more, but then I worry that it's too much. So I try to cool down, but then I think it's not enough. said Refrigerator wisely. "I think I see the problem. You're thinking too much. You're so worried about being perfect that you're not paying attention to what the bread actually needs." "But how do I stop thinking?" Toby asked. "Try focusing on just one thing," Refrigerator suggested. "Don't think about being perfect. Don't think about what might go wrong. Just think about the bread. Listen to it, feel it. The bread will tell you what it needs." The next morning, Toby decided to try Refrigerator's advice. When Mrs. Johnson put in the bread, Toby took a deep breath, well, as much as a toaster can breathe, and focused only on the bread. He felt the bread slowly warming up. He noticed how the moisture was evaporating. He could sense the sugars in the bread beginning to caramelize. For the first time, Toby felt like he was really connecting with the bread instead of just heating it. When he sensed that the bread was ready, Toby gently stopped heating and popped up the toast. Mrs. Johnson stared at the toast in amazement. It was golden brown, crispy on the outside, and perfectly toasted. "Toby," she exclaimed, "this is perfect." Toby was so happy, he almost overheated with joy. He had finally done it. He had made perfect toast. But the next day, when Mrs. Johnson put the bread in, Toby was ready, and Refrigerator stopped heating and popped up the toast. Johnson put in a different type of bread. Toby tried to do exactly the same thing. The toast came out burnt again. "Why didn't it work?" Toby asked Refrigerator later. "Because it was different bread," Refrigerator explained patiently. "Yesterday, you had white sandwich bread. Today, you had thick whole wheat bread. They need different treatment." Toby realized that there was no single recipe for perfect toast. Every piece of bread was unique, and he needed to pay attention to each one individually. Over the next few weeks, Toby practiced this new approach. He learned to listen to white bread, whole wheat bread, bagels, English muffins, and even frozen waffles. Each one taught him something different. Some mornings he succeeded, and the family was delighted. Other mornings he still made mistakes, but now he understood why. He was learning to be flexible instead of trying to follow the same process every time. One Saturday morning, something special happened. Mrs. Johnson's mother was visiting, and she was very sick. She had been in the hospital and was now recovering at home. Mrs. Johnson wanted to make her favorite breakfast, cinnamon toast with butter and honey. "Please, Toby," Mrs. Johnson whispered as she put the special cinnamon bread into his slots. "My mother really needs something good today. This is her favorite food, and it always makes her feel better." Toby felt the weight of responsibility. This wasn't just about making toast anymore. This was about helping someone feel better. This was about love. Toby focused completely on the cinnamon bread. He felt its texture, which was softer than regular bread because of the cinnamon and sugar. He heated gently and evenly, making sure the cinnamon wouldn't burn. He could smell the wonderful aroma developing as the bread toasted. When the toast was ready, it popped up golden and fragrant. Mrs. Johnson's eyes filled with tears of joy. "Oh, Toby," she said, "this is exactly how my mother likes it. Perfect." As Mrs. Johnson carried the toast to her mother, Toby heard the older woman's voice from the dining room. "This toast is wonderful. It tastes just like the toast my mother used to make for me when I was little." That day, Toby realized something important. Being perfect wasn't about following rules or techniques. It wasn't about never making mistakes. Being perfect was about caring enough to pay attention, to listen, and to keep trying to help others. From that day forward, Toby approached each piece of bread with love and attention. He still made mistakes sometimes, but now the Johnson family saw those mistakes differently. They knew Toby was trying his best, and they appreciated his effort. Coffee maker noticed the change in Toby. "You seem different," he observed one morning. "More confident." "I learned something important," Toby replied. "I was so focused on being perfect that I forgot why I wanted to be perfect in the first place. I wanted to make people happy. Now I just focus on that, and somehow the toast comes out better." Mixer nodded approvingly. "That's the secret all of us had to learn. We're not here to be perfect machines. We're here to help this family have good days." "And good breakfasts," added Coffee Maker with a laugh. Refrigerator hummed her approval. "You've become wise, little toaster. You've learned that the best way to achieve your dreams is to focus on helping others achieve theirs." Months passed, and Toby became known throughout the neighborhood as the best toaster on the block. Other families would ask Mrs. Johnson for her secret to perfect toast, but she would just smile and pat Toby gently. "The secret," she would say, "is having a toaster who cares." Toby overheard these conversations and felt warm inside, and not just from his heating elements. He had achieved his burning ambition, but not in the way he had expected. He hadn't become perfect by learning tricks or techniques. He had become perfect by learning to care. One evening, as the kitchen grew quiet and all the appliances settled in for the night, Toby reflected on his journey. He thought about all the burnt toast, all the worried mornings, and all the advice from his friends. "Thank you," he whispered to the other appliances. "Thank you for helping me learn." "Thank you for teaching us something too," replied Refrigerator. "You reminded us that it's okay to struggle with our dreams. What matters is that we keep trying and that we remember why our dreams matter." As Toby drifted off to sleep that night, he dreamed of tomorrow's breakfast. Not because he was worried about making mistakes, but because he was excited about the opportunity to help his family start their day with something delicious. And in the morning, when Mrs. Johnson pressed his lever down, Toby would be ready. Not perfect, perhaps, but caring, attentive, and full of love. And for Toby, that was the most perfect thing of all. The other appliances learned from Toby's example too. Coffee Maker became more patient with his brewing process. Mixer took more time to understand what each recipe needed. Even Microwave learned to pay better attention to different types of food. The Johnson family never did buy a new toaster. They kept Toby for many more years. And he continued to improve with each passing day. Sometimes visitors would comment on how good the toast always tasted in the Johnson house. And Mrs. Johnson would smile and say, "We have a very special toaster." And Toby, hearing this from his place on the counter, would glow with pride and happiness. He had learned that the secret to achieving your burning ambition isn't about being perfect. It's about burning with love for what you do and for the people you serve. Years later, when Toby had become an old toaster with slightly worn heating elements and a lever that sometimes stuck, he would tell his story to new appliances that came to the Johnson house. He would share the wisdom he had learned, that mistakes are just opportunities to learn, that caring is more important than perfection, and that the best way to achieve your dreams is to help others achieve theirs. And every morning, as the sun came up and the Johnson family gathered for breakfast, Toby would prepare to do what he loved most, making toast with love, one golden slice at a time.
you